Greetings, everyone. Um, let's see. Going to change this. Uh, oh, gosh, I just had a brain freeze right now. But here's
Just
Joe Harris from D&J Toys is going to guest with us tonight,
there.
and so and of course, you all know me, so I don't have to introduce myself. But I believe I met Joe back in JoeCon.
2014. I think it was
Yeah, I think
2014.
yeah, I think around 2014, JoeCon, the Dallas JoeCon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So at the same time, I'm also working with a printer. So you'll see me going back and forth doing things tonight. But to get things started, how about tell everyone a little bit about yourself, Joe?
Well, just mostly. Let me take the glasses off so I don't have to. That way, there's no reflection sitting there. But yeah, mostly I had started just doing T-shirts, graphic arts, and stuff like that, and I slowly, just as a toy collector, got into the idea of wanting to make some various different things. And probably about 2008, I think it was, I started having an idea of the doing the Cobra base, and it was a friend, David McGovern, that there's a lot of people knew him, and he was the main one that came up with the idea, and he wanted to do it out of cardboard so it'd be an exact reproduction. And I started looking at the idea of doing cardboard, and it just looked horrible. So I started playing with the idea of how to put it on plastic instead of cardboard, and ended up cutting it all out with a bandsaw and just doing everything by hand and putting it together. And I started selling a bunch of them because people wanted them, and it just kind of grew from there. And then whenever 3D printers started becoming a thing, I started getting into that, and then I seen the Dire Warrior stuff. Seen the Dire Warrior stuff at JoeCon and saw all the 3D stuff there, and that got me more interested in it. And then ended up buying a 3D printer and
Right.
kind of expanded from there. So, but unlike the Dire Warrior stuff, I try to go straight for like play sets and display and all that instead of actually doing the um, little props and stuff. So that way it kind of gives me a little bit of a difference of what Dire Warriors is doing. So that way it expands out what everybody else can be able to have at their disposal to be able to buy. So, yeah.
Yes. I was browsing around your website earlier, and I noticed you're doing a lot of things with stickers
Yeah,
and
I'm doing that too.
some signs and things like that.
Hmm.
I know on your Facebook you have pictures of the Cobra base. Forget what it is, what it's actually called.
It's
You
the
know,
Cobra Missile Headquarters.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I was wondering if you had any photos, pictures of stuff like that for people who don't know what you do.
Um, not I mean that's everything's just pretty much all on Facebook and stuff.
Well, let me
So,
just go to your Facebook page and see if I can pull anything down. Uh, and
yeah, I can be able to I can go grab my phone and be able to pull it up, and I think it can display on the computer.
okay, that'll be fine.
Hold on a
Yeah,
second, I'll be right back.
sure. Hey, Sean, what's up?
Um,
Yes,
can you hear
yes.
me? Okay, yeah, cool. Yeah, not much. Just got back from driving 20 minutes across town. Um, we decided to get Indian tonight.
Oh,
Ooh, that's cool.
and
Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
Let's see.
let's see.
Trying to get all my stuff together here so I can show off stuff later. At least the one thing that I've been working on. Well, good evening, Joe. Good to see you, man.
Yeah, how you doing?
Hungry. Other than that, pretty good.
Yeah, let's see.
Help yourself. That's really good. Because I'm going to eat some here. So.
Okay, that's fine. That's why I got a large order.
Mm-hmm.
Got buttered chicken, some samosas, some cauliflower, and
What is it called?
I don't know what it's called, but it's like cauliflower and
Cauliflower
potato.
potatoes. It is aloo gobi.
Yeah, aloo gobi. And just regular rice. But it's way at the other side of town. The main freeways that run through Bakersfield are the 99 freeway, which takes you all up to Fresno, all the way up to San Francisco, all the way up the coast. And then you have the 58 freeway, which runs east and west, which will take you through the little town of Tehachapi, Mojave, Barstow, all the way out across the desert until it turns into like I think the 40 or something. But there's a truck stop at the east end of town. It has a little Indian place, and I think it's a great place because you do have a large population of truck drivers that are Indian. So
And
what a
this
perfect place to
is
have them.
Punjabi style food.
Yeah, it's all Punjabi, Indian style food. So great restaurant. So
Well,
if anybody that's traveling through Bakersfield via the 58 and want Indian food, stop there. That's,
Even
right
if you
Wheat
don't
Patch
want
Highway.
Indian food, stop there.
Little plug for them there.
well, I'm also at the same time I'm working with a printer, trying to change a spool of filament on there.
Oh, goodness.
To kind of, we have some viewers already. I was to start the since we're all here,
Okay, Kiona, let's go.
was wondering if y'all have any success in finding new stuff out in the stores, a Joe hunt or a Halo hunt or anything like that.
Well, I found different things, but of course, with what happened with me and everything, I've kind of backed down. But before that, I was pretty well caught up on everything. So,
Yeah, same here. I still need to go through my boxes. I thought that I had a 25th anniversary Striker until I started looking. I do have the one that came with Snake Eyes. I do have the brown one that came with oh gosh, he was that new character that had he had the dust, he had the balaclava, the dust cover over his face.
Are you eating her ear?
the one that came with a motorcycle.
No, I've got two of those. I picked those up at Ross,
Okay.
but it was what was his name? His name eludes me for the moment, but it was a brown. It was a brown.
Yeah, I
All
think
Striker.
it was. I just can't remember either. There's a lot of the stuff that.
I'll just plug it in here to go Google and find out.
I think I need a little pliers.
This stuff.
Yeah, there's like a gap in my my machine here. There's a sensor that detects the filament, if the filament is there or not, kind of thing. So it's a little sensor, and then there's a space, little gap, and then it goes into the actual gear area that pulls the plastic through. And sometimes, if you don't know anything about 3D printing, sometimes the print, the filament inside the heating area kind of mushrooms a little bit. So pull it out, it's not nice and even or tapered, anything like that. Sometimes it might get a little pinched, and then suddenly it mushrooms a little bit. Then it might just kind of string out. And so I'm pulling the thing back, and the mushroom part doesn't want to go through the little sensor, so I have to cut it. Now it's falling inside.
Trying to see if it'll show.
Yeah, let me see if I can.
There.
There's a way to.
Night Fox.
Yeah, there goes.
That's who it was. It was Night Fox.
There's
Pursuit of Cobra All Striker with Night Fox.
That's a bunch of them being prepared.
Oh, cool.
We do have a little issue with the microphones. I'm noticing that that some of us, the microphone is loud, others is very, very low. So might have to make some adjustments to all of that.
And let me check my plug-in.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the plastic one. So,
Okay, so that's the plastic one? Okay.
the plastic.
Joe, is there any way you can adjust your microphone to be higher volume?
I don't know how.
Uh,
I can get.
are you using a laptop?
Yeah, it's a laptop.
Windows?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Maybe on the speakers icon, sometimes it'll give you the ability to control the separate audio devices. You might be able to adjust the microphone separately.
Let me go into settings and look. Now, this is my first time doing this, so I don't
Hey,
know a lot
no
about it.
problem. No problem.
Let's see.
Yeah, I just noticed that I am having to
Well, you can just put
increase
some
the
of that in
volume.
here.
I was just going to leave it in here because I'm going to eventually turn the lid over and put it in here.
Okay.
If you want me to put some rice and some
Well,
for you?
one
If you
thing
want
that
to have a
came
bowl.
in the mail for me this week was the Halo Wandering Earth figures, and these are the ones that are all in black with the very clear bubble helmet, and these in the movie Wandering Earth, these would be I guess they would be an elite squad from Chinese military, and they're wearing an exoskeleton, and I personally think it's very well done on the movie. How it is on the toy from Joy Toy, it's also very nicely done. So I'll get that. I don't have it in my on my desk right now, but I'll get that for the show. I got it over here.
Let's see.
Okay.
Trying to figure out where my microphone
let me-
is.
oh. Sorry, it's stuck on the solo mode. Okay, there we are. Oh. What's that?
Let's see.
Okay,
I was trying to figure out where the microphone is on.
Sean, I
the
can't hear you. Are you mute?
Can you hear me now?
Okay, I think your microphone is muted, Sean. I can't hear you.
Yeah, it's muted. I'm eating, so I don't.
Oh, okay.
I don't know what you guys just hear me smacking my food or
I see.
like gulping it down, but no, it's just a little hell dog from Ghostbusters Playmobil.
Oh, okay.
I got all the stuff out here ready to show the Ecto one that I got.
Let's see.
Okay, here's the Wandering Earth one. I'm going to go big. Okay, come on. Come on, focus. It's not focusing. Come on, focus. Anyway, so there. I don't know. It looks like it wanted to focus. But anyway, so this is the Wandering Earth I don't know what you call them. They are some sort of elite Chinese military unit that show up, and they're wearing this very nice exoskeleton. And Joy Toy, I think, has done a good job in doing in reproducing this exoskeleton. The movements are pretty smooth, and I mean, everything is nicely done. It's ball and socket everywhere, and so it's not like there's a lot of restriction to the movement. It moves fairly easy. The legs are a little bit more simple, but they move pretty well also. Sorry, my hands are getting in the way. So you can move the legs like that as well, swivel them around. Come on, camera, focus.
Yeah, you probably got to put your hand back behind it.
Oh, I don't think I could hear you, Joe. Let me switch
hear
back. Yeah.
Maybe.
Okay. I can hear you now.
You can't hear me?
I can hear you now.
Okay. I was trying to play with a microphone to see if I could get it louder, but I don't know if I've got it any louder. Probably not.
Let's see.
More than likely, what I need to do is buy something to be able to hook up for a microphone to be able to get a better sound.
Do you or any of your kids have a gaming headset? That's what I'm using. Just a regular. Because if they've got a gaming headset, that might work. Because I've got these are Turtle Beaches, and with the regular headphone jack. So that might be an option.
Let me go look and real quick and see. I think I got one.
Okay.
So the helmet comes off fairly easy. There's no locking mechanism. It doesn't stay on the helmet very tightly. It rests very gently on the helmet. One thing that's really nice is that the bubble part is extremely clear. It's not like a regular toys canopy that is a little milky. This is more like the clear that's used in a fine scale model, that kind of thing. There's a lot of detail on the helmet itself. So if you're into customs, you want to customize the figure and doing other color schemes with the exoskeleton would probably look pretty good too.
That's the only thing that turned me off with that is that they're all black, and it's just, for me, it's just, I guess, thinking of traditional space stuff. Black is not a functional color unless they are some elite stealthy like.
Well, that's the thing, though.
Space Marines or something, or Space Marine specialists.
Well, but that's the thing, though. In the movie The Wandering Earth, the only ones that go into space, they're wearing the I don't want to say a traditional, but something that's more similar to a traditional spacesuit. It's all in white and so forth. But these characters appear on the surface, and so I don't think these are actually spacesuits. Now, everyone on the surface is wearing a very heavy-duty environmental suit because the surface of the Earth because with the movie, the Earth has been shifted out of orbit, and they're traveling to move the Earth to another, I guess, star system. It's been a while since the movie.
So this is actually based off of an actual anime, or
I don't know really. But if you haven't seen the movie,
well, that's the thing. I haven't seen the movie. I didn't know that there was even a movie. So no, this is brand new for me. Knowing that, I thought Wandering Earth figures were just made up.
Right.
Yeah, just made up. Just, hey, these are Wandering Earth figures, and I didn't know there was actually a story behind it.
Right, but excuse me. The basic idea of the movie is it's been a while since I've seen it, but basically something had happened to Earth, and I think maybe the sun is dying or something like that, and so basically everyone gets together, nations of the world kind of thing get together, and they build these large engines, and they put them all over the globe in different locations, and they gently move the Earth out of orbit to take it to another star system. So it's going to take generations to get there, centuries or something like that. So what they do is, when they shifted the Earth out of orbit, the entire surface of the planet is devastated. It just created an environmental impact all over the place. As they move further away from the sun, the Earth temperature begins to drop, and everything becomes a frozen wasteland all around. Not only that, but because they're moving the Earth into one direction, there's no more rotation. And so it's only one side that's getting sun, the other side is going to be in darkness all the time. So the cities begin to get built around these large engines. And so the bigger the engine, the more resources, the more labor force is needed to keep these engines running. The cities get bigger and they go underground. So at the beginning of the film, one of the first things that you see are the two protagonists trying to sneak their way to the surface, and everyone is wearing these hostile environment suits because the temperature is something like 40 below 0 Celsius, something like that. There's extremely high winds and all sorts of other stuff. So they go up there, and the first thing that they experience when the doors open up on this large elevator is everyone around them is hunking down, because the first thing that happens is a big blast of cold Arctic type wind shoots in. And so that's the surface of the Earth. And, there's a lot of tear jerk type moments where they come across people who were left on the surface when the Earth shifted orbit. So a lot of people are frozen to death, things like that, and other things happen. So while they're out there, these guys show up, and which leads me to believe this is not actually a spacesuit. This is some sort of environmental hazard suit of some sort. So it's kind of like almost like a spacesuit, but not designed for space. Although maybe it can function in space, I really don't know. But what they do have in space are actual astronaut suits. And so I don't know if the movie is still on Netflix or anything like that, but that's where I saw it.
It sounds like a big
Hey. We got some.
Hey, Tom. All right.
Hi, guys.
Hey, this is a surprise. Hey, what's up?
Not a whole lot.
Yeah,
Saw a message pop up. What's going on?
I can get it on the camera, right?
Oh, let me maximize show
That's the thing I was going to show you. That's the
Yeah.
thing that I did, the laser cut for the Nintendo Switch.
Uh-huh.
So,
Well, that's cool.
uh,
Little nesting station for it.
yeah,
That's cool.
And all it is just acrylic and some wooden dowel rods that's put together. So
Hmm.
That's great.
Is that clear acrylic or did you spray
it was
paint it?
it was clear, and I went ahead and spray painted it. Yeah, I did it
Came
for
up
my
clear?
wife, and I did it for my wife, and she wanted it to be just solid black. So I just figured that'd be good enough.
Okay, I'm gonna put everything back.
But yeah, that's that thing I was telling you about.
Yeah, kind of. Okay, hey, that's better. Yeah, there's settings on this thing. I'm still learning as I go. And there's this.
Yeah, there's a lot of all of this video stuff that I'm not really familiar with. But I figured I'd try that YouTube channel and start pushing that, and I'll learn.
That's an excellent way to learn too. It's some place, good start and a good place to, start putting your stuff out there and giving a good explanation
Mm-hmm.
and kind of reviewing your own stuff so little, people can get a better idea of what you got and what you're working
Yep.
on.
Right.
Well, that first video was kind of a downer video, but I mean, with everything that just came about with what happened and all, I of course was talking about that, and I tried to branch off into showing the Eagle Force stuff and some of the different things that I'm working on out there. And I figure next Saturday I'll do a video and probably focus on my paint booth and show people how I built that and how it works. And there's different people that are interested in those, and I've seen YouTube videos how other people have built theirs. So I figured that might be kind of neat to do a little thing on. And
That's something I'll definitely watch.
yeah,
I wouldn't mind having my own uh,
it's
paint
helped.
booth.
Because I did have a tent that I had set up in the backyard, and all of the weather that we've been getting, and all these hurricanes hitting Louisiana and everything, that tent got destroyed. So, and I ended up building the paint booth, and I've been blowing right through everything that I need to do now. So,
Well, if anyone doesn't know yet, I've been this past week fighting with this particular spool, and mostly because I ended up ordering the wrong spool, the wrong type of filament.
hmm,
So I was trying to print PLA, and this is actually um, PETG.
right,
So different temperature and different
yeah.
speed, everything. So I end up having a whole bunch of those, and I don't need at all.
Yeah, I ended up ordering some um I forgot what it was I ordered anyway. I'd ordered a particular kind, and they ended up sending me ABS, and the temperature was completely off, of course. And I got a printer that I exclusively use the ABS on, so it's not like it's wasted, but still, been nice if they would have told me that they were going to send that instead. But
Well, this is not nice. I just noticed the feed is wrapping underneath itself. Uh,
Yeah, I've had
I've seen
that
it happen
happen
to some
several
with
times.
the neck.
Yep.
Come in and the print's done and the print's half completed and there's no filament going through
yeah.
the head because it was tangled and snapped. Pin in the neck.
my main problem that I keep having with my prints is getting warping on the bed. So
Yeah, I've seen that.
I don't even really know what's going on with that, but I'm just filling it in with some putty, some of the green stuff and all that. And once I paint it, you can't even tell, but still. it's an extra step that I really shouldn't have to do. I don't know if it's just bad filament or what. It's 3D Solutions filament is what I'm using. It used to be okay from whenever I was using it last year, but that could be where the problem is too, is they had filament that's from last year that they're sending me and it's old.
That could be, yeah, that's possible.
In continuing about the toy stuff, because I know a lot of folks out there are probably very curious as to what we've been up to with things, either stuff we're making or stuff we're finding in the stores. In terms of finding things in stores, is anyone still hunting for stuff?
Well, I'm kind of at a halt on it because of course, my situation right now, but eventually I'll pick back up. I was in the process of looking for some of the different transformers and stuff like that, and I've seen some of the different things I was looking for lately, but like I said, I'm kind of stopped on it right now.
Right. There's I don't know if anyone is aware, but actually I don't know how this goes when what I need to do, I need to see how it is with the guest account, because let me ask everyone, when you go to the link and join in this system, do y'all have the ability to like select what type of microphone or what type of speaker, if you have like say more than one camera?
Yeah, it just gives me like a default though for the internal microphone on the laptop. So
Okay, with me, it gives me choices because I have more than one camera, the old webcam, the new one. And of course, webcam has its own microphone, and I have another microphone, so I get 3 choices. And I was noticing there's like a button switch checkbox for echo, dealing with feedback microphones in the speaker. So I have that selected, and I got my microphone right next to my speaker. And I don't know if y'all have that feature also on the guest account.
let's see.
I think might have to. I got a bar on the bottom that says video, and then it has the configuration stuff. I don't know if it has it inside. Well, maybe. Yeah. It's the gear icon I have on this little bar.
Yeah, I just went ahead and clicked it and changed my audio for the microphone to. It said a communication Realtek, and did that make any difference, or is it about the same?
I think about the same.
Okay.
Sean or Tom, anything?
I was hoping
I'm just using the standard stuff on my computer, just the standard web, built-in camera and microphone.
Okay. Yeah. Just trying to. Just wondering what's out there for us to optimize everything. Yeah, well, in terms of toy hunting, toy collecting, I pretty much stopped hunting for stuff at Walmart and Target. I've only been going to Target, not recently, but when the 6-inch figures were out. Yeah, that's some good stuff.
Yeah, I loaded up on Halo stuff the other day.
Yeah, I'm curious about the articulation on the aliens. I haven't bought any of them.
It's quite amazing. It's quite amazing.
Walmart,
This guy's cool.
it was the other day anyway. I saw him, but I just got to skip on them right now.
There's some limitation based on the physiology of the aliens, but it's really for basically $10 a figure. It's crazy. It's just crazy. I mean, like this guy, shoulder rotation, ratcheting shoulder joint, elbow joint ratcheting, pivoting hand. It's just really, really cool. I don't know.
Hey,
Yeah, they look detailed.
I just-
all went across the wall.
Hey, there's Otto.
Yeah, hey, Otto.
hey, Otto.
Hello. Hopefully my phone will cooperate this time.
It's like the most people I've seen. It's like, wow, we're moving up like the professional YouTubers.
Yeah.
I found this. Had to go to a different Target. Let me switch that. So this is the 1/18 scale Halo thing that they have, and I forget the price.
Yep.
About $30, I think.
Yeah, $30.
It was a tight fit getting in there.
You got one, didn't you, Otto?
What's that?
I think Otto bought one.
Yeah, I gave into the peer pressure, and some high school teacher, influenced me. And said, he's one of the cool kids. Buy a Warthog. So I did.
I think did Frank get one too? 'Cause I might be the only one in the group that hasn't gotten one yet.
I don't have one yet. I bought
Okay.
a ton of figures.
The Halo figures.
Yeah. I bought 3 of the 2-packs. And I also have the Grunt Captain, I think it is.
I think what I want to do is I have
Two Spartans.
the McFarlane Halo stuff. The thing what I want to do is just sell all of that off and then maybe buy a couple of these. So,
Yeah,
Well, if you
I
I
got
got
the
like,
McFarlane Warthog too, and that thing's just too big for anything.
I saw that at the store a long time ago. That was huge. Let me put you on a solo layout, Tom. There it goes. That way we get to see
no,
it.
Tartarus. This is from McFarlane years ago, and this guy, I think he scales well enough. My son's a Halo Authority, and he was over today, and he said, he might be just a little bit too big, but he'll do.
He's an alien, Who's to say how big an alien is?
Right. Don't want to be speciesist or anything like that.
Well,
Oh, Joe Harris, my favorite transport guy.
that's what my latest thing is right there.
Let me see.
Oh, it's got the armor.
Yeah,
That's badass.
that was the latest thing that I had gotten and came in from Hasbro Pulse.
That's cool.
I canceled a lot of my pre-orders I had, but there were certain ones I just couldn't do it. I wanted to keep that one on coming, so but it's nice. I hadn't taken it out of the box yet, but eventually I'll get a place and get it.
Yeah, I've been looking at those, thinking about getting some for myself. But I do have a confession. I'm not a huge. I am a big Star Wars fan, but I tend not to collect that much Star Wars.
Yeah, I only get certain things now, so mostly it's stuff to have to do with the Mandalorian is what it is now. Except I'm not getting that big ship. I just can't pay that much for that.
I'm sure it's nice though. I would love to be able to drop that much on there. But
Yeah, it's nice, but I think I'll just maybe do a 3D printer or something.
Oh, thinking about
Just put it in the background.
3D printing. Is there going to be like a remake of the Black Hole movie?
I've seen they've been talking about it, but I don't know though. Yeah, I think
Yeah,
it's
'cause-
like Star Blazers. They were talking about having a live action Star Blazers for a long time, and that still hadn't happened. So
So I've been wanting to get my either to 3D print or to find an old Maximilian or Vincent robot from that movie. I had them when they came out a long time ago, and I don't know whatever happened to them. It's one of those, one of those times where suddenly the toys I had just mysteriously disappeared. And
I had those myself, and I don't know where they went.
but I've always wanted to like 3D print Maximilian because I think in the movie, he's much larger than
Yeah.
a
Have
large
you
person.
seen the Diamond Select one that came out?
I have not, and I probably wouldn't be able to afford it. Diamond Select
I
prices.
did. What was it? Back in July, I think it was. I got it, and so, but it's huge. It's for like 6-inch scale figures.
Oh.
But it's a nice figure. But you could use that to model it, and then be able to shrink it down and 3D print it. So
Yeah, I was thinking of just going in and just doing it. I've always wanted to have in 1/18 scale the arms of Maximilian being able to function.
I can go off. See, that's 3D printed.
Oh wow,
That's awesome.
yeah, I would have thought that was just a regular run production toy.
Yeah, I thought maybe painted
These
them
were
up or
mine.
something.
Came out
That's
good.
pretty good, man.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I ate too much.
There's a Maximilian model on Thingiverse.
You could do a Maximilian like that though, and it'd look nice if it was done.
Yeah, I do have to check out Thingiverse. Thanks for that. I completely forgot about checking them out for that.
Mm-hmm.
On one of the groups, I think it's 3D printed toys. Someone there was kind enough to donate me the STL for Vincent, so I can print it in resin. But I just been extremely busy since getting it, and I've just never had the chance. And but yeah, a Vincent would be nice in 1/18. Maybe 3D design my own afterwards.
Yeah, I got a bunch of different things I've been wanting to print and do, but finding the time.
I think my most ambitious print on, I think off the Thingiverse, was that UAV that I built. I think it was the UCAS. I don't remember what
Kind
the
of
file.
triangular shape.
Yeah, I'll go grab it. It turned out better than I really thought. However, with printing it, the challenge came with different parts of it warping, and when I put it together, I had to fill in a lot with pieces of styrene plastic and putty and a lot of sanding and a lot of, I mean, you could see it on the model. I just was excited to get it together for my first build, but it was pretty cool. I'll go grab it real quick.
Talking about that same thing?
Yeah, the gray one.
That one was before. I was going to see the grappling
One thing I noticed with the Joe collecting stuff or just toy collecting stuff in general. Seems like the whole atmosphere for hunting and finding new toys has been really down all across on all the groups and everything.
Well, that's a big influx of a lot of new collectors and a lot of the people doing the 6-inch stuff, and that crowd has been kind of very aggressive.
Yeah, well, I think things like that come in waves. Right now, it's a lot of interest that's generated because here, at least here in the U.S., the biggest thing is either Star Wars or GI Joe. Hold on, Sean. Let me get you on that.
Did you know that?
So that's
Oh,
three.
that's cool.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, so that's 3D printed. Patty's gonna give me a little light here, so
Okay.
That's very cool.
you can see the spots over here that I had to, or I'm sorry, here. I had to really sand.
Here, hand it to me really quickly.
Did you
It's all
sand
dusty. It's been sitting.
was it manual or machine sanding?
That was hand sanding. I won't use anything on a model that's machined because I'm just too worried that it might.
Am I at a good angle, love?
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, so when you move the light, you can actually see
Well, the
seam
Jones
line there.
Right.
Goes right across the center here.
need to get a handheld belt sander.
Yeah.
That's what I use, and
I didn't like the bottom.
works pretty good.
So I don't know if that's what
Because with having a handheld belt sander, you can be able to have a lot more control.
I mean, it's for what it is. My first shot. I mean, I think it turned out pretty damn
Oh,
good.
yeah,
And
that looks nice.
with taking photos, some of the photos I took already of it, you really can't see a lot of the stuff.
Mhm.
And I made it to where I could have to be very careful do it. I can take off the landing gear.
Oh, nice.
I wanted to do something like a in-flight photo. But for
And in reality, isn't the thing about the size of an F-22?
Can you say that again, Otto? I couldn't catch it.
I said, in reality, isn't that drone about the same size as an F-22, maybe a little bit smaller?
Oh, I see.
the UCAV, I think it's actually smaller than an F-22. I remember when it was flying around at Edwards, I could probably fit one here in my living room. It wasn't that big, of course. They didn't need it to be full scale, so they just were just flight testing, software and flight surfaces, that sort of thing. But yeah, they are pretty good sized. Probably about the size of maybe a Cessna, I would think.
Okay. Well, I was surprised in the first Iron Man movie when Tony Stark goes to talk to Colonel Rhodes and that Globemaster is sitting next to the F-22. I was just surprised to see how big that Globemaster was. Or not Globemaster, Global Hawk.
Oh yeah, the Global Hawk is massive. That thing is probably about the size of a Learjet, actually larger. That thing's a beast. I've seen that out in Edwards too before they really started using it. That's why I always loved going out there for the air shows, because anything that they were working on that was not classified, they always had it sitting out. And the Global Hawk, I've got pictures of it sitting in the hangar along with, Jeff Yeager's P-51, which was a remake. A bunch of other little flying projects that they were working on. They have the Altus out there, which was this really long radio controlled. I don't remember how many engines that it had, but it was maybe an exaggeration, at least 20 feet long. I mean, it was massive. So when it took off, the wings would actually bow until it got up into altitude and went into level flight. And I think with solar power too. I'm not for certain on that. But a lot of neat stuff out there.
I just end up using cheap plastic whenever I'm making the big stuff because it just takes so long to 3D print it. So it's like all the gliders and all that I do. It's just quicker to cut it out.
Yeah.
So it's like, let's see if I can get it there.
Yeah.
So that's the new one that I'm hoping to be able to introduce the Eco Warrior one. And let's see there.
It's cool.
And it was Otto that actually suggested the little bar to be on there. So Otto's the one that gave me the idea of putting that on there and giving them a little handle to be able to for the figures to hold on to.
So yeah. So
I think you made it out of a clothes hanger.
Yeah, it was closing. We just put a little strip out and painted.
Yeah. And so I made this little jig and I'm taking just little bars of plastic and heating it up and then bending it around the jig and getting that shape. So I still get people wanting them. I just hadn't had the time to do anything with it. But I'm hoping that's going to change now that everything else that's happened and get Eagle Force out of my way, and then I can be able to start focusing on all that. And I'll go back to doing all the different ones that I was doing, and plus introduce that the Eco Warrior one, and I've got the Eagle Force gliders too. That is stuff that I've been doing, so that's another reason I didn't do the gliders because trying to do those, and I had. I think it was like 130 of them. But yeah, right here, there's a picture of a bunch of parts for the Cobra base. And
Nice.
I've been putting that together, getting it ready, so I got to start on it. And
I ended up getting the San Diego Comic Con version of that.
what the one that the new one that they did?
Mm-hmm. About 3 years ago.
Yeah, I'm trying to decide what to do with that. It was Bob Valla that actually did the artwork on it, so I don't know. I don't know for sure how he would handle me starting to make it. So, but now I get a lot of people they're wanting me to make a 6-inch version of the Cobra base.
oh wow. Yeah.
And I've been considering it. That thing's going to be big if I do it, and it won't be cheap. So I might make one and then just tell people this is what the price is, and if they want to pay it, then I guess go ahead and do it. But I don't know.
Make them to order.
Yeah. It just depends.
I get ads on Facebook for something that used to be on a Kickstarter. It's let me.
That's the Eagle Force.
Yeah.
I love that thing.
That's the thing that's taking all the time.
I've been getting ads on Kickstarter for a clip-on propeller kind of thing. That's got a little controller to kind of do things. They claim you could put these things on just about anything to help it to fly, such as you put it onto a paper airplane and you throw it, and the thing keeps it in the air.
Yeah.
You put it on a leaf, and the leaf, takes off like a plane. I was wondering if you could do something like that with gliders, if the gliders are light enough, put some sort of control on there.
It's like that one guy that's made that reproduction of the gliders, and I think he was selling them for what, $125 at the convention. And he had a reproduction of the original piece that went on the other gliders and everything that he was 3D printing, but his didn't fly either. So, and that's mostly what the whole problem is. A lot of people want one that's going to fly. I know the material already to use to be able to make it. I talked to Kirk Bazikian about it, and he told me exactly what they used way back then. So it's just finding the place that has it now, because that
It's
was
almost fun. It's like the same material they used in those little gliders that you would buy and put together that had the little plastic propeller you'd put on the front, the little weighted thing. It's almost like, seems like that material, that,
yeah. It just
but a little bit thicker.
all that's needed is just some styrofoam that's pressed. So just some of that real condensed styrofoam. And I mean, you can use a CNC machine or a laser and cut it out. So
Yeah, just make sure when you throw it, it's over soft grass, and not into a asphalt street. The four figure becomes a burn. I learned that when I was younger. A friend had one. I'm like, hey, we'll put a Cobra down here. Whoosh, crush, scratch. I was like,
Speaking about laser cutting, Tom, I think you've been showing some pictures of your laser engravings you've been working on. How's that coming along?
It's pretty good. Still have a lot to learn. I figured out how to cut, how to reverse the images to make them. You have the shiny side and the images behind it, so you don't feel the image, the engraved image. But I think the thing that I run into is that I need to space the images a little more narrow on these acrylic strips that I have, because the laser's going below it to finish the image where there's no material. But it's a learning process and it's fun. And I think, and this is 1/8 inch, and I'm going to try to find some thinner material to work with.
If you don't mind me asking, what laser are you using?
What's that?
What laser are you using?
I don't. No, it's that thing's a beast. Yeah, I'd be. Yeah, excuse me for carrying this monster thing out of here. But it's huge. It's. I don't even remember the name of it, the brand of it. It's been in that classroom for probably 6 or 7 years.
Wow.
No, 3 years. It was there a couple years. The guy who was before me and the guy before him. So it's been there for a while. I just finally got around to figuring out how to use it.
Is it a CO2 laser or some other gas?
I have no idea. It works. That's about all I know. And I gotta learn how to cut with it too, because I haven't figured that out. But I'm getting there. I put some kids on it sometimes. They figure stuff out pretty quick too.
I was wondering if that freebie software Lightbeam would help. Is it Lightbeam? Yeah, I think so. It's like this open source universal laser controlling software, and I was wondering maybe that could help with features, control that thing, that kind of thing. Oh gosh, so many things to learn and do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got.
We also need the 3D scanner.
Yeah, I've got more printers coming for my classroom. I got a resin printer coming, so that should be. I don't know when. I think in December sometime. I'm not sure exactly when.
That's one of the things I was
I
trying to
love
figure
texture.
out though, too, if you could how to laser etch onto, like, let's see there. I was
Oh,
wondering
nice.
how you could do that.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just doing that with stencil and all that type of stuff right now, but doing
Yeah,
it
I've
by
got a
hand.
mechanism for my laser that can rotate material.
Okay, you can do that.
Well, I have the mechanism. Do I
Okay. Just hadn't tried it yet.
know how to do it? No, not at all. Another thing to learn.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one of the things I'll
Plus,
have
I
to
have
figure out.
those pesky kids.
It'd be kind of neat. But that's what I try to do, is play with various things and see what I can come up with.
I've been trying to work on a diorama for myself, or just more like a set where I can change things up a bit. Made out of poster board. And, seems to be pretty good, pretty decent material.
The thicker stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
like
good stuff.
yeah.
Right. Yeah. That's good stuff.
So found some online, including some files I got from the site that shall not be named, but found some other files online where you basically print them out on your printer and just paste them up against the, just paste it into that poster board, and it, looks like a back wall. Like it's got it's like white about halfway up the wall, and then it's got a red stripe going across it, and then sort of more a cream color above that. Got like the door frames and window frames and stuff like that. You just take a knife and cut that out, and everything. So it seems to work pretty decently.
And there's still, thankfully, a very nice wealth of printables on that site that you can use. Everything from wall panels to pizza boxes, donut boxes. I know I uploaded a bunch of stuff from 3D miniature sites that I found. That was before we had the availability of 3D printers. That's where we got our crates from. That's where we got our computers and just wall backgrounds and doors and stuff. It's all just color printed on cardstock.
Yeah, I was using my computer as a footrest, and I accidentally turned it off. Oh, is that?
One of the problems I found with some of those files on the site that shall not be named was there was this great looking wall panel that was all nice. Great looking wall panel was all sci-fi looking, but it wasn't a continuous pattern, so you couldn't just print a bunch out and paste them together.
Yeah, they weren't filed.
She tripped over my foot.
No, that's her.
Oh, is that what happened? Oh, Rocket. Okay.
I don't know what I'm going to do with this. But put on the VSS or something.
Mine's better.
The Playmobil Echo 1 is pretty cool.
Yeah, it is.
Oh,
I actually had I purchased some of the other figures prior to that. So I already had Pinkman, Stance, a couple of the Helm dogs, and then the Ecto 1 came with Zedmore and I don't remember what her. I guess it's right there on the but the roof actually comes off of it, and you can pull the figures out. Melmint.
And the doors open though, don't they?
No, the doors do not open on this. You have to.
Okay, so you have to put them in through the roof.
Yeah, you have to put them in through the roof. But it's cool. They've got little places in here to put the Ectos, not the Ecto, but the proton packs. And the proton packs, if I'm not mistaken, I had tried this before. I have a one of my MTF figures here just to use for scale for the few items that I have that the Ecto packs. Oops, what did I do? I hit something on the screen. There we go.
Oh, hold on.
So the proton packs actually fit on their backpacks. You know, on their back. You just, and it's perfect size.
That's cool.
It's a Marauder figure?
Yeah, it's a Marauder figure, and it just kind of hard to see. They just kind of clip on.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
Set it right on their shoulders, and bam! You've got a great little proton pack for them. So I guess some of my future purchases will be some tan suits.
Cool.
Yeah, that looks pretty good.
And the best part of it is the, of course, with anything Playmobil, you always have some cool features.
Oh, yeah, that looks nice.
That's cool.
Nice bright lights.
Yeah, and that the firehouse really seems like it'd be a good purchase too. Cool, does the same thing.
As it's powering down, so it's pretty cool. I'm really stoked with it. This will be, I think, a really fun model to, just put it on a side street or someplace in a diorama.
Yeah.
Just have it sitting someplace, and it's one of the plans. I do have the 1/18 scale Hot Wheels Ecto 1, which is
It's pretty huge.
yeah, it's pretty good size, and it's really, it's incredibly detailed. That one I'm not sure yet. Depends on how well they photograph. But I still was, the plan was to set it on a side street someplace when my future dioramas, just, there's, if you really look closely, hey, there's Ecto 1 down the street. What the hell is that doing there? Certain little, funky things in
Keep it in the background and don't acknowledge it.
Yeah.
And just let people say, wait a minute, why is that going on there?
Yeah, or just where the rear end's sticking out, where it's parked against the curb, or the front end or something, and just people like, what's going on down the street? That'd be fun. And then my most recent project has been
Let's see.
the aircraft tug. That's the one I bought from the Closet Jedi. Nice little aircraft tug with prior Air Force. Anything that I can get my hands on that I could use for my air crew. It's going to be very nice. Trying to get it in.
Must be nice to be able to buy things from his store. Must be nice to be able to visit his page.
So no, I'm happy with it. After I'm finished detailing this and painting it, I'm going to build a tow bar for it, a couple hitches that'll attach to the rear here and to the front to be able to attach a tow bar to hook it up to the Sky Striker, the Conquest, or either one of my either Tomahawk or the BBI Blackhawks. Just so I can have something more than just my aircraft are sitting there on a tarmac. What else are you going to throw in there? I mean, it's nice to have air carts, and I've always wanted a really nice tug. Another thing I've always really wanted was a missile cart. Just something where
Right.
even if you were to hook it up to the back of a vamp or something, just so where you could take some missiles off the Sky Striker or the Conquest, or if you printed some up of your own, just hang them on the racks and have it look like it's being towed out to the aircraft. I know there's a air cart. I think it's on Thingiverse. It's a 1/16 scale, but that doesn't mean that that can't be scaled down a little bit for it to fit properly in the Joeverse. But my only challenge there would be the yellow hose that comes off the air carts that would attach to the aircraft. What would I make the actual hose out of? No, straws are going to be too small. It needs to be bigger than that. Plus, the hose is kind of flexible, but it's got like it almost looks like, what did you guys say, dryer hose?
Over stuff.
Well, what's the
Yeah,
diameter?
like a dryer hose.
Remember the
But
old
it's what, like
jars we used to get in
2 feet big around or something?
wrinkles? And you could like swirl them around and go, woo, 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 woo.
Oh yeah,
A yellow one of those.
that's too big.
So what's the diameter you need?
I would say for a Joe, like you could hold it like this with, for as a human, the nozzle, the attachment is about this big. You hook like, I would say they're about the same size because I know we use them when I worked for Delta when we were Air Start the 727s. You just go up to the side of the aircraft, plug it in, and switch it on, and it blows the air to start getting the turbine spinning.
Right. So about maybe 4 to 5 millimeters.
Millimeters? What country are you in?
I know. When you start talking about millimeters, it's hard because for me, I can visualize millimeters because that's the size of balloons that we use for the arteries when we're doing angioplasty. So I'm thinking about the size in millimeters of balloons that we have. I would probably like a 6 or 7 millimeter diameter.
Well, an idea of what you can do is, unless you find a tube for that, maybe just 3D print your own little tube and get some paper. Like what I used to do to simulate a flexible tube on some 120 scale models, I used to take like a straw and put some kitchen paper, one layer, just wrap it around, and some thread to give it that corrugated kind of look or something like that. And I would just soak the thing in like Elmer's glue, diluted in a lot of water. And after a while, when it dries, you can squish it and keep that drier vent type hose type look. For if you need it flex, because this thing with the Elmer's glue will be somewhat flexible, somewhat not, because the paper being so thin, it will be flexible. I was thinking maybe that rubber spray that you could get at Home Depot. If you want to add a rubber coating to a tool or something, you get this special dip.
Yeah.
You can get a spray for that too. And I was wondering maybe you could just spray the outer surface of this tube that you're making, and then you can kind of squish it all around and use it like that.
Now you got me thinking. That's one thing we always have to do is think outside the box in our hobby. If they have yellow shrink wrap or heat shrink, like for cables and stuff.
Yeah,
Oh, you put it on your wires and use a hairdryer to shrink it down.
Yeah. So if I was to find something that I could shrink that over, that had a good enough diameter for it, that's flexible, and then just heat it over it, and then it will take the shape of the corrugation of like I remember doing this when I was building models. Same thing. I just used thin wire over. I don't remember what they gave me, but you just wrap the coil of wire around it and then stretch it out, and then slide it over the piece of plastic that you were using, and that gave the appearance that it was air hose. So if I could do that, we just have to see the matter of finding something that had enough segment in between each to give it that appearance. Then I would have to turn around and go back and probably paint circles all the way around it, or just leave it and do the same thing and just do a wire foil on the inside.
Yeah, there's probably some other stuff. I tend to use what's called an A-spring, and you get them in different diameters. But the thing is that you probably want it without flexible, without resistance, most likely like a real hose, and that's where I'm really at a loss, because anything I can think of it's going to have some resistance, like an A-spring. Sometimes you can find them, or sometimes I'll get them, and they're supposed to keep their shape, which is supposed to be straight. But sometimes I'll open up the package and they don't have any straightness at all. They just want to go it's like working with a string. They just want to go everywhere. But I don't know if there's a particular A-spring that you can get that would, because those things look like hoses, and if you can get one without any type of resistance, maybe that might work also.
Is that like a mesh?
I don't have an A-spring with me right here.
Look it up, because I'm also thinking.
Let's see. I got the only thing I have with an A-spring right here is this. But let me I replaced the stilettos hose with an A-spring, and this one have a wire underneath, so it's not a good example. But it is, maybe you get closer, kind of hosey looking.
Automotive. Um,
Yeah, but you can get them for hobby stuff.
yeah, I'm thinking if there's another type of that. It looks very meshy that they use in automotive. I think like water lines, high pressure water lines. I think, or even like
Oh,
perfect example, kitchen water lines where they have that wire, that metal mesh around it.
Uh-huh.
Or my I don't know, was I right? The high pressure water lines, they've got that wire mesh or something that surrounds the hose.
yeah. It's also heat protection as well.
But I don't think I'm going to find anything that small.
There's another that might help. I'm searching for right now. It's a type of wire rope kind of thing. A spring, but don't mean to get sidetracked here. I had it on the tip of my mind, but no. Let's see.
Ooh, what's this? Oil hose.
Chain rope, maybe.
I'm looking at something here. It's a Flex 1/4 inch reusable oil hose, and that actually might work, but it doesn't. It only looks like it's a short piece.
Chain rope, maybe.
Yeah, it just looks like it's connected.
Where there's chain. I had ordered something before. It was referred to something like a chain rope, and basically it was a tube that was like a mesh, and it just just crisscrossing mesh kind of thing, and it was very, very flexible. I'm trying to find that again. Oh,
He just yeeted that right off the chair.
He likes it.
How big on did you say that hose was in real life, Sean?
I don't know what the diameter was. It's at least about this big around.
Okay, so not even a foot in diameter.
So let's go with air start hose.
okay. I'm not finding anything useful.
It looks like it comes in black or red and black lines. Jet starter hose with stuff Okay. Okay, so that's HVAC. That's bigger.
No, we lost Otto.
I don't know. I'm not. Restart. I'm gonna type in Coupler.
Anyways, well, Joe's not there. So Tom, are you working on any big, massive projects?
No, not really. My attention span isn't that great right now.
Uh-oh.
Looks like it's a.
There's a lot of plans and stuff like that, but I'm slow to make them happen.
Well, I know you're a big full-size Joe collector. The old series before the 1/18 scale, 3 3/4. But I don't know too. Other than that, I don't know too much about you. Are you a model builder? Do you collect anything other than G.I. Joe? Besides figures, other kinds of collections, Hot Wheel cars, model railroads, model kits?
Mainly just. Well, I used to be huge into models when I was younger. Been a long time. I guess the closest thing I got recently to a model was 3D printing an eagle.
Yeah.
That was all in different parts, and it's a decent paint job. But I had that big Mattel eagle when I was a kid, and it was 1/18 scale.
Wow.
Or somewhere. And that was a thing of beauty. So many toys I wish I had taken much better care of when I was a kid. I was destructive as hell. But mainly just a few figures here and there. I don't actively pursue any old O-ring figures. The original vintage G.I. Joe, I don't really care about. I haven't really bought any big G.I. Joe in several years. I picked a couple at Joe Lena a few years ago. It's because they were cheap. Nothing else really.
When you say big, you mean like the 12-inch figures?
Yeah. I got the
They're
three.
cool. I was gonna say they're cool. I could just never pull the trigger on them. For space or anything like that.
Kind of obsessed with the big Joes, and Hasbro started making a lot of different head sculpts, and they did some of the Venom versus Valor figures in 1/6 scale. But the bodies were crap, so I'd get obsessed and buy other figures with the super articulated bodies, and that's where most of my versions of the Real American Heroes in 12-inch. I mean, in the 1/6 scale, I got pretty obsessed with that for a while. First Century Toys made some amazing 1/6 scale accessories, and they were just
They were
somewhere in boxes. Yeah.
There was back in the early 2000s when the wars over in Afghanistan and Iraq had first started. There was one of the Taliban groups said that they had captured an American soldier. And you see a picture of this black dude, he's sitting there, he's wearing a camouflage fatigues and his t-shirt,
I remember.
and he's got a blindfold on, and he's sitting there slumped over, and you see this rifle sticking from the edge of the camera. And they said, yeah, we captured this soldier, and this is his name, and we want money or we want our own people set free. And it turns out it was actually one of those 21st century dolls, or the 12-inch action figures.
Yeah.
where there was another one where some guy, I think it was a Filipino. He made a group of, look, I think it's probably like 10 or 12 of the 12-inch figures. They're all wearing goggles and they're all wearing a balaclava with a skull face thing. And like he said, oh yeah, this is my Delta Force or SEAL Team 6 or whatever I made up. And there was like guys going around using that photograph saying, oh yeah, this was me back when I was in, the SEALs. We had to cover our faces. So people were like, dude, those are 12-inch action figures. I do.
Stolen them.
I've seen pictures of
Pretty
guys,
convincing.
in combat, in service with the. I've seen pictures of guys, actual in-service guys, in country with like a 21st Century Toys 12-inch figure jammed into part of their backpack or something. That was pretty cool.
That's awesome.
They'd actually take their figure into combat with them.
Yeah. The only figure I ever bought after 1987. In fact, I didn't even have any of the 87 figures. The only figure I ever bought after 86 was that 92. It was the Gung Ho, where he's bald but he's got a headband on. He's wearing like a lime green vest, and he comes with an American flag and everything like that. And I saw that guy in the store and I had to buy him, but I kept him with me in the barracks and everything.
I got pulled away though as my brother gave me a call from Arizona, so that's where I disappeared
Hey,
to.
by the way, Joe, I'm sorry to hear about your mom, Joe.
Yeah,
My condolences.
yeah, thanks. It's just been hard dealing with. Trying to get through it. Yes.
The awesome thing, there's been a whole lot of people out there that really pulled for you, and sent their, condolences. And there's a lot of us like myself. I just, stuff like that happens. I mean, what can you say? I mean,
Yeah.
you can type in there and it's pretty much saying the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's nice to see it, but there's a lot of us, like for me, I just say a silent prayer and just say, hey,
Yeah.
look after the family and just, keep them in your hearts and mind, and just
I've appreciated all the friends that I've had, and didn't actually really know that I had the friend base that I actually do. Really, I
it's interesting,
I had a
when
lot of friends, but there's a lot of people that I hadn't. I don't know.
well, they're all, they're just lurkers like some of us. We just kind of kick back and
Yeah.
hang back and watch. And the same thing when Arnold, when he passed away, we were really surprised.
Yeah.
We all know how cantankerous that asshole is, and
Yeah.
how many people actually came out of the woodwork and really, had really awesome things to say about him. So it was,
Yeah. That surprised me with him too. So
we all knew it because our
seen
group,
I seen all the stuff he was saying and talked to him and how he was in and out of hospital. But
yeah.
I wasn't expecting him to pass away though.
No, I think all of us that were, because we're in a group, myself, Otto, Tom, Frank Nash, Kiarda, and Myron, or MC Austin, we're all on the group. We chat every day.
Mm-hmm.
We knew his time was coming, and Arnold knew it too. So he even said to us one time, I'm not afraid of dying.
Yeah.
I know my time is coming. So,
That's
it was
where the
just a matter
problem
of time.
was. That's where the problem was with my mom. Is she was planning all kinds of stuff still, and she was feeling fine. And she just got up that night and went to bed, and it was like 1 o'clock in the morning because we were sitting around watching YouTube videos, and
Wow.
she had just got up and went to bed and went and laid down, and I seen her in there reading, and next morning it had started getting a little late, and I figured I better check on her because she hadn't got up yet, and then found her.
Wow.
I don't
Did
even. Had no idea what happened.
Are they planning any type of uh, examination to figure out the cause, or you guys
No,
didn't? You
we
guys chose
passed
not to.
on it because with my dad when he passed, he had said he didn't want to be cut on anymore whenever he died, and so
You know,
she told me the same thing when she died. She didn't want to be cut on,
uh,
so we just went
it's
ahead and let it go.
fair enough. Yeah, because I've been in the medical field for 20 plus years, so
Hmm.
anything like that, it starts, you know, I start, throwing questions out. What could have been, what could have caused the
Hmm.
problem. What was, you know, because
That's
I
where
do
my
a lot of
problem is. And
what's
I
that?
blame that's where my problem is, and I keep blaming myself too for it because
Well,
I feel like I should have heard something going on and that I should have
no.
gotten up and
There's times where you will never know because
yeah.
heart attacks are silent, um, aneurysms are silent,
Hmm.
strokes are silent. There's just sometimes no signs or symptoms, and you don't know.
Yeah.
Tom, he had that triple bypass,
Hmm.
Quadruple.
quadruple. Yes, that's
Wow.
four
Wow.
valves.
Yep.
So that's a lot. And I work for actually work for two cardiologists, and I do lower leg angiogram angioplasty. So I find aneurysms all the time that are in the aorta, which is
Hmm.
um, I wouldn't say common, but it does happen. And once the
Yeah.
aneurysm bursts,
Well,
it
my mom
doesn't.
had what is that AFib?
Okay.
So she had AFib. She had diabetes. Several other different things, but she, as far as I know, she had it under control though. So I wasn't expecting it, and of course she
Yeah.
wasn't either.
If she
So
Yeah, I
already
take
had
it she was living it.
underlying heart problems, you could
yeah,
probably guarantee that was probably about 98% of what probably
yeah.
caused it.
I figure it's probably that because whenever I found her, there was Kleenexes laying around her like she had been coughing or having a runny nose or something, and so I don't know. She
Yeah.
had pneumonia like 2 months ago, and she had gotten over the pneumonia. So
Hmm.
I don't know. But of course, with mine, whenever I had gone to the ER last year in December for 2018, and then they had found it was because of my stomach that I was going because I was having a real bad stomach problem, and they started trying to figure out what it was and looking it over, and then they started looking at an enzyme and said that there was one of the heart enzymes, I forget which one it is, was up. And they said that they need to get me to an echo and all that type of stuff and see
Oh,
what's going
troponin.
on. Yeah, the troponin.
Yeah, your
And
troponin level was elevated.
it was like 2 points up. So,
That shows
and
your heart damage.
yep, and that's what they were saying is they needed to get me in there and check me out, and then they ended up finding two veins that was clogged in the heart, and got me on the heart cath and unclogged them, and
They put stents in, or did you
yeah, put
just
two
get the rotor?
stents in,
Yeah.
put a stent in each vein. So,
Yeah. It's
so it got
amazing how that much of a little bit of work they do with that stenting and everything,
hmm
how much it changes.
yeah,
You could breathe better. You feel like you've got so much more energy. It's just
hmm
that um, if they were the veins, they're probably the pulmonary veins.
yeah. It was just two little small veins. It was like off of one of the main veins,
Yeah.
and they said that more than likely I would have went for about 2, maybe 3 more years, and then I probably would have had a massive heart attack.
Wow.
And
Oh wow.
it was because of my stomach though that they found it. So,
And
and that's
I
what
think
they
you're only
told
a
me.
year older than I am, so I need to start paying attention to that.
Yeah, I'm 49 now, so
Oh, wow.
Okay.
and no, they told me it was because of it was hereditary and stress.
Okay. Well, then that's telling me right now that more than likely mom and dad probably had a lot of underlying heart problems
Yeah.
too.
Well, that's what the problem was. My dad, he had quadruple bypass at one point himself. So,
Wow.
and
Yep.
then he had, when he died, he had 20, what was it? 23 stents.
Wow.
But it wasn't his heart actually that killed him, it was his kidneys. His kidneys started shutting down on him. So,
Wow.
and he was taking metformin, and that's what one of the doctors was saying is the metformin was damaging his kidneys, and they were
Mhm.
trying to get him into a kidney doctor, but he never would go.
Uh,
And
And it's hard
see,
too
the,
when you
the
get
pills that
older.
were keeping his heart alive were what was killing his kidney.
yeah,
Yeah.
Oh, geez.
so,
Wow.
and that's why I keep trying to watch my kidneys, because all the kidney stones I keep having. That's getting old.
Stay away from the sodas.
Yeah. So it's just, I don't know, it's one thing after another.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can get all of this, if I can get past all of it and try to somehow or another get my stress level back down, then maybe I can breathe easier and figure out things. I don't know.
But you're in the perfect hobby to do it, especially
Yeah.
for me when I work on things. It's quite cathartic. Just working on this alone. I've been my area is such a mess. I haven't touched my 3D printer in a couple of years,
Mhm.
and you guys, most of you guys know I've been going through for almost the last 4 years a really, really horrible custody battle with my son's mom, and I've gone through a period of depression where I didn't want to do anything. So uh, my hobby suffered. Um, Building anything was a chore to get back there to do anything, and now I'm just starting to get back into it, and uh, especially with this tug, which is a perfect project for me with being an Air Force vet, and I love any of this stuff. So working on it has been this has been fun. I've been really excited to get this done. I felt something. Maybe was that I felt something hit my leg. I don't know what it was.
Yes, 'cause, yeah, even when Ronald was in the hospital, several years ago, his heart doctor told him to pick up a hobby, something cool and calming, and that's how he got into collecting the action figures and doing customs and whatnot.
Well, if I can make
Yeah.
myself stop buying so much and all that, that's my biggest problem.
That's
Which, of
right.
course, now I
Hey,
have to.
Joe, that's there. You don't have a problem. There is no problem there.
No, I went through
We all have that.
yeah, after all that with my mom and all that, it made me realize how much I've been buying and how much I need to stop. And I went on Big Bad Toy Store probably 3 days ago, and I had 8 pages of pre-orders.
Oh my
Holy
God.
crap!
So, and I got it down to 1 page now. so,
That almost
that's
sounds like a Marauder Task Force order.
hmm
Yeah,
that's how bad though that I was getting, and I just needed to really cut back. It's, it's
they
been
don't call plastic crap for nothing.
Yeah, that's true.
but
I
yeah,
noticed a lot of people use our hobby like a type of therapy.
yeah,
It's I hear it often, and it's, I used to think it's a good hobby. I mean, other people I would know that would spend lots of money on buying CDs or buying movie collection and stuff like that, and or other people I would know they would have excess money. They'll go to a bar or some other thing, and so I used to always like that the hobby that I'm into, toy collecting and things. It's it has a lot of I'll say it hurts nobody. Um, it's great, can promote family interaction, between generations and such. And then a few weeks ago, really, or actually more like a few months ago, I was talking to some people, and I began to realize that a lot of the stuff they're telling me is the same, and it's like they're using the hobby as a type of therapy. And I was thinking, oh, there's some more benefit for this hobby. It's not just about buying toys. It has other little benefits that help.
Yeah, that's also the problem, though. It becomes a double-edged sword, though, too, because my brother made me realize exactly what I was doing. And when I was younger, that's what always was going on. Is I went to the doctor and I got a shot or whatever. Something bad happened. My mom would buy me a toy. And so
Oh
as
yeah.
I got older, I started buying myself the toys. And then eventually I was having a lot of pain, really, and a lot of problems. And so I was buying more and more toys. And I was trying to fix the problem. And all I did is I've basically become a hoarder, really. And I made more pain for myself. So now
That
that's what I'm trying to
dopamine.
do. I'm trying to back off and I'm going to try to sell off as much of the stuff that I'm willing to part with for now, and then try to maybe eventually whittle that down to a little bit more and then a little bit more, and then try to get it down to a smaller amount so that way I can enjoy it instead of, because right now everything is just piled all over the place and it's not displayed. I can't really pick it up and do anything with it. There's some stuff I hadn't seen in probably 10 years.
Oh goodness.
And
That was
I need to
uh,
stop that.
I say I did that a few years ago.
Hmm.
I had a storage unit full of my entire collection, and I ended up selling. It turned out ended up me selling everything that I had, with the exception of my modern era versions of the vintage vinyl.
Yep.
And kind of sticking with that. Yeah, I'll buy a few extra things, but kind of sticking with that is like really helped that
Yep.
stress point. Like, dear God, what the hell am I buying all this shit for?
That's what I want to get to. Because it just gets
Yeah.
to that point that there's stuff that I hadn't touched in so long and don't even know. I mean, I've got all of my stuff from my childhood locked away in a big storage case that I can't even get to because so much stuff has been in front of it for I don't know how long. And I need to be able to stop that. And I need to get back to be able to find it. And I'd like to be able to put my hands on my original collection again. And
Yeah.
there's a lot of that stuff too that I want to get rid of because, like the original Transformers, all that G1 stuff, there's nothing that I really care about out of that.
You can
And
get a pretty penny out of all that too.
I
Yeah.
figured just move every bit of that, and probably I'll go ahead and sell the GI Joe figure collection because I've got every figure from '82 to I think '93 is whenever I started getting a little spotty with buying, and then I figured get rid of all of that because I like the modern era. I don't really care for the vintage. I'm not really worried about. I'm not a nostalgia type person. I like the best of the best. So,
Yeah.
and I like the way the
Well, my
pieces
my,
look.
my secondary collection ended up being Transformers and those Masterpiece, even the knockoff. Those get
Mm,
expensive after a
yeah.
while. So I ended up selling all those off, and what I couldn't sell, I gave to Sean.
Hmm.
And but I'm kind of started into the Transformers again, but just the studio series,
Yeah, that's
keeping
all
it
I've
just
got.
the one line that's inexpensive.
Hmm. I've got most of that from, but let's see. I skipped Omega Supreme because it's just too expensive and too big.
Oh, good God,
Don't
that
have the
thing's
room.
huge.
So, but yeah, there's different things that I do want to get, but I'm just trying to figure out exactly what I want and kind of just kind of narrow it down anyway to be in specific things. And
Yeah,
Plus, I got to figure out too. Right now, due to the COVID stuff, the T-shirt shop has just not really been producing, and doing the toy stuff that takes so long to be able to make any money off of that. So that's what I'm trying to decide is a part-time job, maybe somewhere doing something to be able to make sure that I got a steady income of money. And
Speaking about
and
t-shirts, I
it's
might
got,
have an opportunity for you. I want to get a bunch of some Die Warriors shirts made,
mhm.
and I don't want to go through Vista Print. The quality is just not really there.
Yeah, well, I can do it. I'll keep the shop and still run it because the business itself is paid for, so it's not. I'm not paying rent, and I could always, like I said, I could go work for UPS as a loader or FedEx and be a loader, and just only put in like 3 or 4 hours a day, and still do T-shirts too, plus do the toy making stuff.
Yeah, the drawback to the UPS and FedEx is the loading trucks is from like midnight till about 5 in the morning.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. I don't know for sure what I'm doing. It's just I was looking at a possible graphic art job, so if I can get on there, but I don't know.
Well, in terms of the live stream, in case anyone doesn't know, I usually try to keep the stream like around 2 hours, plus or minus that kind of thing.
Hmm.
And because I notice a lot of folks in the audience don't really go on for a 3 hour stream. That's like really rare.
Hmm.
So we're approaching the 2 hour mark,
Yep.
and sometimes it goes over and things like that. But just letting everyone know that's like the rule of thumb, 2 hours. I'm not saying to go, nothing like that. Okay.
Well, what, 2 weeks ago we went about 3 hours.
Yeah, we did about 3.5 hours, something like that.
Wasn't too bad.
Yeah, but our
I'll let
audience,
y'all go because it's midnight here for me, and I'm
Oh yeah,
yeah,
it's only coming up on 9 o'clock out here West Coast.
Right?
You guys
Yeah.
know back east.
yeah, like three
and I'm all,
minutes before midnight over here.
Yeah, about 11 here. So
all right. This was fun. I'll talk to y'all.
All right, Tom. Have a good night. Rest
Right,
well.
John, have a good one, man.
All right, thanks for joining us. I've been working on a lot of stuff recently, the VSS stuff mostly, and I tell you, it's one big massive job, massive project, and I've been like talking about space or lack of space. I know if you do 3D printing, you generate your own junk. So you end up having prototypes and things that are good for production, and then things that are not good at all, but you don't want to throw them away because they have something that you might find valuable for a later project. So this is just one room, but it's full of stuff,
hmm.
and I don't even show what's on the floor because that's like a pile all around.
If you watch that YouTube video that I put together, you'll see my workshop, and you'll see how crowded that is, and that's a pretty big space. It's just once you start doing stuff, everything starts piling up. So
Yep.
But you have an actual workshop, and that's something that I really need.
that's
I
the
don't have
problem, though. I've got a workshop, and I junked it out too.
No.
Uh,
You have a pecker.
Yeah, my work area is basically 2 sawhorses and a 4x8 sheet of plywood, and then I have a small desk in the east part of the back of the house, and
Stop.
my 4x8 sheet of plywood that I've got basically my foam buildings that been working on for my diorama. Just a bunch of miscellaneous boxes full of different props because I have all of Arnold's his collect. Well, at least probably about 90% of his collection, and trying to sell for his mom. To send money down, to sell for her to recover for his, transportation and cremation and all that stuff. 'Cause he was Texas when he passed. So I've got a lot of stuff that we didn't, that we wanted to keep and try to sell. Like a lot of his miscellaneous diorama props and stuff. I don't know if that stuff will even sell. I might, have to take it down to the Pasadena show when they start doing it again and just throw bags together and just basically say, here, bag for $5 or whatever, grab bag, you know, Ziploc bag, whatever. If there's something in there you like, you got to buy the whole bag, and you can deal with the rest.
Right.
So, yeah, it's just it can become cluttered very easily, very quickly. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
That's the problem too with COVID and no convention. You can't really set up at a convention to sell.
No,
So
no, because we're getting ready. I was going to go down with Meyer, and we are going to go down and do with some of my props and stuff. With I've got all the sleeping bags and the medical equipment and stuff that I sell. Little satcoms and all those pallets and all that other crap. I was going to take that with me down there again and take Arnold's stuff and try to, get a bunch of stuff sold. But then, boom, COVID hit, and
yep.
that was the end of it.
I'm glad to hear that Joe Fest went well this year, and some really am thinking about being prepared for next year's Joe Fest, and that might be a very good location there to sell some of Arnold's stuff. It's like if you can get there, go to the Die Warrior table, and we'll set up something there, and you can just sell to people that show up.
Where was Joe Fest? What's that?
I think it's in Augusta, Georgia.
Yes, Augusta.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So there's Joe Fest, and then there's, what do they call it, Joe Lanta or something like that?
Yeah.
Or is that the same thing? That's
Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, it's that.
What's that guy's name?
Yeah, there's that one, and assembly required, and what is the other one?
They need to do something more out here on the West Coast. Everything else is all Midwest and East Coast.
No kidding. Last year there was a really good one up near Seattle where there was like quite a few people that were going to be there. Like Terry Dizzard, the guy that ran the Yo-Jo, and Mark Bellamo, and there was like a few other guys. I was like, okay, cool, I can do that. It's only 150 miles away. And then, unfortunately the plans fell through and I couldn't get up there. But I was like, shit, yeah, we need more out here.
That would be nice. I think they stopped doing the conventions in Vegas or out here in California, because rumor was fights, or I don't know what happened. Something happened. They just didn't want to do it out here anymore because like I said, something happened where it wasn't good outcome or something. I don't know. But yeah, I think they could have really had a good turnout for the West Coast if they'd done it.
They've been doing a pretty big one in Dallas, Dallas-Fort Worth G.I. Joe convention, and it's been growing each year. And this year was supposed to have been a real big one, and I was supposed to actually done the T-shirts for them and everything, but of course COVID.
Mm-hmm.
So that they ended up canceling the whole thing because they couldn't do it. But I think they're trying to figure out an idea for next year. So,
yeah, I'm gonna have to get Ed to join us one of these days, and probably talk about conventions and stuff like that, and what he goes through, and how you set up how do you start a convention to begin with, So
Yeah. 'Cause he seems to be involved in both the Joe Lanta and the Joe Fest.
Yeah. Yeah, he's I think got a little bit of something to do with both of them. So well, I think the Joe Fest I think is his, isn't it? And
I
then
think
Joe
so, yeah.
Lana, I think Joe Lana he co-runs it with somebody, but
Mhm.
he started the other one by himself, I think, and then has other people helping him, of course. But
He seems like a really good guy too.
yeah, yeah, he seems like he's nice. I know John with Marauder and all. I know with him, he knows him real well, and whenever I've done the T-shirts for Marauder stuff, that's who I usually ends up shipping all the stuff to is Ed. So
So
yeah.
that's another person who needs to get some West Coast representation of Marauder Gun Runners.
Yep.
They got everybody else to go to stuff, Midwest and East Coast, but nobody out here. I kind of drop hints, say, hey, I'm pretty close to Los Angeles and Sacramento and San Francisco, all those places.
I think like Ruben does and all that. I think John would probably, if somebody would work with him and all that, he would let somebody set up and represent him if he can't make it. So
Yeah.
Yeah, but who wants to work with Ruben?
oh no, I like Ruben.
Have you met him in person?
Yeah. Yeah. I've met him a
He
couple
seems,
times.
the guy, he kind of seems like, in person, he seems like he'd be pretty mellow, but online, he kind of has the ability to let loose and just kind of say what he
Yeah.
wants to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I met him several times in person. He's pretty cool, actually.
Yeah.
Okay, I was gonna say, I don't know. There was just like when they first started with the I don't want to say the task force, started with the figures, but when they like introduced they realized that the task force was doing really good, and so they started to introduce the valves and more gear and everything like that. It sort of seemed like there's something just really off-putting about him. Like it almost like he was acting like, oh, this is my show, this is my gig. I'm the one that's running Marauders and everything. And I was kind of like, I thought this was John's gig.
I think he paints them or paints the prototypes, something like that. So
Yeah, he does
Paint
all
master.
the prototype painting and stuff. So now he just with John and everything, he ends up running a lot of the different stuff and trying to promote it by himself a lot of times because John's so busy shipping everything and trying to run the company. So Ruben kind of handles all of the shaking hands and all that. So
yeah, no,
I'll tell you what, though, John runs a really good show, though, too.
mhm,
Yeah, I like the way he runs the company.
mhm.
He's easy to work with. Hey, man, I didn't get this item, and he'll say, okay, I'll send it to you for free on your next order, and I'll throw in another freebie for you.
Yeah.
I was like, oh,
Yeah.
okay.
I've known
I
them,
try to
though,
use
I've known Ruben and John though with Marauder and all for so long. It's I don't know.
yeah. I try to use Marauder John's public relations style for Die Warriors as well. So I'm trying to follow basically his example on that. But yeah, Marauder Ruben, met him almost every convention that I go to. He's always there.
Mhm.
So, but it's so strange because like I think it was the last JoeCon, was it? I'm not quite sure. I'm walking down the hallway and I'm thinking like, I wonder who's here. I wonder if I'll meet so and so, and then images come to my mind about people that I met in previous conventions, and I was thinking about Marauder John, and then I look and suddenly, hey, that's him, and he sees me right away, from down the hallway, and he comes right to me, and does things to help me get set up. Go here for the registration, go there, and this
Mhm.
and that. And but he's always been very friendly, kind of like like looking after everybody kind of thing.
Yeah,
So
that's the way he's always been. So
yeah. But I think when it comes to like Facebook and stuff, I think we all have our own little domain kind of thing. This is my wall, that's my group, that's my this. So that puts a different what's the right word I'm looking for? Well, I don't know what's the right word I'm looking for, but I guess the that boundary of being anonymous, and even though he's not anonymous, and Facebook does its best to try to get everyone to use their real names and not be anonymous, but you still have this boundary that separates. And so sometimes you do have to be uh, aggressively defensive on
yeah.
Facebook, because if not, people will come into your territory and try to tell you what to do on your wall, and how to run your group and things like that.
No, that's one of the things with Ruben though, that he's had to deal with a lot of those people that's being rude with John and everything. So,
Yeah.
and he's told me a bunch of different times that that's what a lot of problems comes in, is somebody will just be really, I don't know, be as rude as they can possibly be, and it just of course puts him in a bad mood. So,
But
and
there's always that element of the super fan, where either they like your product, and as a whole, and anyone outside of that product, they'll aggressively defend that product against anyone, and then they may like certain people within that company. So then favorites, start to show up. Oh, so and so is better than someone else. I'm going to like this other person more, and then so you end up having the super fan effect, I think.
well, that's what happens with Boss Fight too. I mean, they get hit by all those type of people, and Katrina and Erica constantly are running into that. And I think that's where the problem comes in too. Is like how Eric Arana, how he's a real nice guy, and people just think they can say whatever they want to say to him, and then of course they end up making him mad eventually.
Yeah.
And I think that's what ends up happening with Ruben, is people will say some stuff to him, and then it eventually puts him in a bad mood, and then he's ready to
Well, yeah,
tell somebody
and then
off.
Ruben, yeah, and then Ruben gets pissed off, says, "Hey, man, you need to quit talking to me that way, and you need to
Uh-huh.
stop talking trash about Marauders." And then that guy gets all pissed off and says,
Yeah.
"Oh, well, you're screw Marauders. They're a bunch of assholes."
Yeah.
You know,
I think that's what
it's
ends
like,
up happening a lot of times, is it just
yeah,
gets to be a thing.
I
So,
Well,
wonder what can you.
I was just going to say that a good thing with the community is sometimes that, you do have a lot of people that do come together and um, try to fix a problem. Like, if somebody's like, Marauder's got shitty this and that or something, my figure broke and blah, start talking smack and like, hey, wait a minute, just email them, let them know what's going on. They'll
mhm.
fix the problem. You don't have to go, start, you know, talking smack, because everybody that's been dealing with the Marauder Task Force know their business model. They know that, it's just a simple email and just say, hey, this happened here. And John is always like, boom.
I just needed you to
Mhm.
pause for a moment because I'm trying to do my list, and you were talking and
Oh,
it wouldn't stop. I
sorry.
just needed you to pause for like 10 seconds.
What are you doing? You're Italian?
German.
Oh, German. My girlfriend's learning German, and she has to. My voice is picking up a little bit, but with the communities, they all come together and they kind of they're very protective of the product too. So um, that's where I've noticed a lot of camaraderie too. That somebody that hasn't dealt with the product for very long, they'll get, so to speak, put in their place very quickly. That hey, they're not a bad. This is what you experienced is just one small incident compared to some of us that have been dealing with them since 2005, 2006 for me when I started buying just the weapons. And yeah, I don't know much about Boss Fight because I don't buy too much from them, but
They're pretty much about the same.
yeah, I mean, I would defend them too because the few figures that I've got from them are fantastic. I just bought Frankie, the unicorn with the rainbow bright tail, whatever, for Deadpool. I had to. But
Boss Fight's about the same as Marauder. They try to do everything for whoever, but there'll be those fans that'll say, "I got such and such broken, and their product's horrible." That, and that's what everybody tells them. Just email them and tell them because they'll replace it.
yeah.
So, I mean, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
People just want to try to go off instead of try to handle the problem.
Yeah.
So,
That's pretty good too. I mean, like I forgot what I got something that was broken, and I said, hey man, I said, I'll send this guy back and he said, I'll just keep it.
Yep.
He's taking a loss on that,
mm-hmm.
but he also wants to do what it takes to make it right.
Yep.
Well, the good thing is you can look at it this way with Marauder. I mean, from where they were, even 10 years ago, where they are now, it's been a massive change. And I really don't know what it costs per figure for their cost, but obviously they can, they could probably afford it because people are spending $30 for one figure sometimes to fully outfit a figure that's $11.99 plus all the accessories. So I mean I know they're probably not hurting. So but just yeah, I'm really
That's interesting there because we're saying that there's something I was wondering about is you could have like the business model with Marauders. Their model is basically you go to their shop and it's like going to the supermarket. Then you could pick this, pick that, pick the other thing, put it all together. And the Boss Fights business model is a little bit different, where the figure with all the gear is already in one package, and you don't get to pick and choose what type of sword you want with a Greek figure, or mix and match the different types of weapons. Either get a package that has it all, or like the Marauder stuff, you can, if you just wanted one knife, no anything else, you can just buy one knife. And but as you all know, Warriors, we're in the process of developing our own figures. So eventually, in time, I'm going to be in a position where I'm going to have to start thinking like, how am I going to start selling these figures? Whether I want to do a Marauder style, where people go to the website and they pick and choose each little bitty item and gear, or the Boss Fight style, where they just go and they just buy, like, I'm just putting this out of the air, $20, $30 figure, but it comes with everything. And there's pros and cons. Well, yeah, there's pros and cons. Like, for example, if Big Bad Toy Store wanted to sell some Die Warrior figures and stuff, there's really no way that they'll be able to do that, or I'll be able to put together using the Marauder style business model. It'll have to be a packaged thing, so it'll have to be something like Boss Fight, and so in other words, if I want to expand and sell it overseas to other retailers abroad, I'll end up having to do a packaged thing. And one thing that I like about Marauders, unless you wanted to buy their $44 figure in a card and everything, if I wanted to, well, the nice thing about the Marauder stuff is that it's low cost. If you wanted to buy just a figure, it's under $20, it's under $15, it's like $12 with the head, $7 without the head, that kind of thing. It's very affordable, and that's something that I like. And of course, as a maker, I want to make things affordable for everybody. And one way to keep the cost down is to eliminate the packaging. So if I can sell stuff that's just like Marauders, just come in a Ziploc bag, I don't have to spend thousands of dollars on the cardstock, the inks, the coloring, and all that. It gets almost just as expensive as making the molds.
Yeah.
It's an expensive process. And so I'm going back and forth, which is the right model to do if I wanted to sell just internally or sell it to others. So
also that's where the problem comes in with that is with Marauder, it's a lot of overhead because you're sitting on all those parts. So you would be sitting on a lot of product that you would be hoping for people to buy. So that's where that issue comes in, is you would have to outweigh the idea of how much will you actually make off of all those individual parts versus the full figure. So, and I
Well,
think
good
with
thing is,
him, he's selling so much, it's just it's kind of equals out.
Mhm.
One
That's
of
the
the
good
other
thing.
things
He's
that's always
always
a
at
big
it.
question whenever a new action figure line comes out is it compatible with the other action figure lines? And I use pieces and parts off of this figure or accessories from this figure and use it on a different, figure from a different line. People actually like that aspect because you can do that pretty much with Boss Fight and Marauder and G.I. Joe.
right, that's is a big selling point there, and that's something that in terms of the Die Warrior stuff, that's what I'm pursuing, that compatibility. And without I'm kind of limited in what I say right now,
Yeah.
but soon I'll be able to open up all of the doors for all sorts of questions and everything and be able to show. But yeah, I'm trying to do compatibility between all of the figure lines that we like, specifically Marauders and Boss Fight, with
Well,
G.I. Joe being the
same thing with
overall.
Jason though. Jason with Animal Warriors of the Kingdom. He's going through the same place that Boss Fight is getting their figures made now too. So the compatibility is there, and you can swap parts, and it's not too much of a problem at all. So that's a possibility that you might be able to look into. I don't know how much they'd be open to work like that, but
Well,
I
that
know
get,
that's
that gets
nothing you
into
can actually say yet. But that's just a
yeah, that gets into the area where I can't go any further and say, but I don't can't right now tip my hand on any of that. But I think what we will be showing will catch some attention, and what comes after into the second wave on stuff, it's going to be even better. And one thing that's very amazing is the amount of research that goes into planning a figure line. It's not just like, okay, I want 6 figures and they got to look like this. You're also thinking like, okay, well, what's going to happen next year?
Yep.
Wave 2, wave 3. What's the bigger scope? How is it all going to fit in on the bigger side?
Well, that's
So-
almost what I would also say to do is probably go for the idea of a full figure to sell to everybody. And then as you're coming out with stuff, start back stocking some of those figures that you can tear apart to be able to sell the pieces. And that way you don't immediately have to sell the pieces, and you can start selling full figures first, and then eventually you would have the ability to have that back stock to start saying, well, now I'm offering hands and I'm offering arms and such and whatever else. Because then you wouldn't be stuck with mountains of parts all at one time and wondering how you're going to sell it all.
Yeah,
So,
it's going to be interesting. Hopefully by next year's Joe Fest, we'll be able to do what we wanted to do this year, which was to make an announcement for a Kickstarter and all that. But real world stuff gets in the way, and we don't show up to Joe Fest. We have to pull back on the announcements and things like that. So instead of trying to rush, by the end of the year, that kind of thing, now we're just going to be like, hey, let's just wait and just go nice and slow and just release it, an announcement, next year.
mhm.
So that's our thing.
Yep. Yeah, everything's kind of got to be fluctuated in different ways all the time. So,
Yeah, but it's interesting because I want to see about distribution in other places and things, and of course I look towards Asia a lot because I traveled there. So I'm trying to see, well, what would be a nice mechanism for selling figures over there, capsule toy type, or if you go to a department store over there, figures are usually in a box. So it'll be like a small little. It's like how Acid Rain used to sell their well, they still do, but now they have a plastic box. But when they started, Acid Rain figures were in a little small little bitty
Yeah.
cardboard box.
yeah, I got
So
a few
that's-
of them like that.
Yeah. So you go over there and they'll just have stacks of boxes on the shelves, and they'll have like one area where they have a display, maybe at an end cap. Well, they'll have one sample of each of the figures, glued and just inside of a small display.
Hmm.
So
There was one person that's wanting to do some stuff. I won't go into any kind of details because I don't want to give away who it is and all that, but I'll just say they wanted to create a package with some figures, and they were talking to me about it, and that's what my suggestion was: is a box with having a foam insert, and then you could be able to do like the GI Joe convention head where it had the cutouts, and you just put your figures into the cutouts and seal it in the box and put a sticker on it, and you're good to go. And most people are fine with that because a lot of them throw the package away.
yeah,
So, and you could also even just have a sandwich bag with a piece of cardboard that you staple that's on the top, and it's got your logo on it, and it's ready.
There's a place that Arnold and Sean and Myron and I have gone up there in LA called Frankenstein. There's a lot of vendors out there, and that's exactly what they do. They just have sandwich baggies full of,
Uh huh.
you get like Duke, and you get the figure, you got his backpack, his helmet, his binoculars, and his rifle, or they'll even do the grab bag, where they got like a bigger quart size bag, and they just throw a bunch of figures in there. And like you say, you buy, you like that one figure in there, sir, you got to buy the whole bag.
Yeah, most
Yeah.
people are fine with that because, like I said, they just throw packages away and they don't care.
Yeah.
Even as nice as the Star Wars boxes are that people buy, they'll take the figure out and just chunk the box. So
See, if you do it that
Well,
way, you just You can call yourself eco-friendly.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
what,
Yeah.
There you go.
Well, it's like the stuff that I do. I mean, I just pack it in a box and throw a bunch of newspaper in it and ship it. And everybody's gonna throw that stuff away anyway. So
Yeah.
Well,
Or
you got.
you
I
know,
know
I
they've
mean,
got
even like
boxes for me. The little boxes, they're perfect for. I mean, they're very, very nice. I bought like 50 or 100 from like Amazon, and you just fold them all up, and they're small. They're probably about that big, by about this wide. I mean, you could probably fit maybe 4 figures in there, maybe 6.
mhm.
You stuff them in there really good, but I mean, those boxes are great to
Another
reuse.
idea is like the Microman started to come out with these plastic tubes, or I don't know what type of plastic. But they're hinged. They open up, and you can put the figure in, and they just sell them like that. They have, of course, area for the stand and accessories and such. But I guess you can always do something like this, and uh,
Or
you
you could
know,
even have just a solid tube with a cap on the top, and people just dump it out of the tube.
Yeah,
yeah, some sort of cryogenic chamber kind of thing, some sort of technological chamber.
Yeah.
Make it as part of a diorama, so you end up having multiple of them.
Well, that's the reason I got into doing all the stickers because I could be able to make little stickers that would go on stuff like that, and it just ends up looking like something you could just be able to put in your display without a problem.
yeah.
So
I wonder how easy it would be to like vacuum form something like this with a hinge.
mm, the hinge would be a little bit of an issue, but the rest of it
Yeah.
would be easy.
Yeah, the rest would be simple. Hinges are. Ugh.
But maybe it doesn't need a hinge in terms of packaging. Maybe it'd be more like just two halves,
Yeah, you could
a
just
bit of
have
tape.
have it fit together, and then that'd be good enough. So
Yeah, that'd be better. Like two plastic eggs, just
mhm.
Yeah.
put them together.
Get into
that's too bad pantyhose don't come in eggs anymore. That'd be perfect for your figure throwing.
almost like a Mork and Mindy thing. It kind of reminds me because our stuff is space theme. It's like I think Mork arrived in a capsule that looked like an egg or something like that.
Yeah. And speaking of vacuum forming, I need to figure out. Still trying to figure out a way to do it, but I have a bunch of the. I guess I don't know if they're 25th or I don't know, just modern era parachutes that came as Flint and came with that Cobra paratrooper. And what I'd like to do is find a way to vacuum form some thin plastic domes to where I can place up under the parachute to make it look like they are deployed, that they're open and full of air, that I could, put like a T-bar or something under it, like you see in the clips for displaying things, where they got the little plastic thing in there. They've got the T-bar that goes in the bottom, and it has a hook in there. Or do something like that where I could do a fishing line and just where I can, if I wanted to display them somehow, like if I made a frame in the backyard to make them look like they were falling out of a C-130 or whatever.
I seen a
But
thing on. I think it was. Well, I think it actually was on Adam Savage's YouTube channel that tested where they were
Yeah.
doing some type of a. I think he was making an astronaut helmet, and they took some real thin Lexan and had a sheet of it, and they took a bowling ball and put it on the top and used a heat gun and just heated the Lexan and
ooh,
had some huh.
I was just saying, ooh, that's actually not a bad idea.
Yeah, yeah, they were
Yeah.
just taking it and using the heat, uh, oven mitts. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. They were
Yeah,
using
Yeah.
oven mitts and heating it up and just pressing it down over the bowling ball, and they ended up making their shape for the mask for the astronaut helmet.
So
So
this is
you could
kind of a
probably do the
homemade
same
makeshift
thing.
vacuum forming machine.
yeah,
Yeah, you could probably do the same kind of an idea. Just heat it, like on a vacuform and then pull it down over a bowling ball,
Yeah,
and, or just use a heat gun and let it melt down around the bowling ball, and then it'd fit perfect to the parachute then.
yeah.
And
No,
so
that's not a bad idea.
yeah.
I've been thinking about that for the longest time because it's,
That's
you
why
know,
I watch his stuff, because even if it's nothing that I'm going to do, a lot of stuff he ends up doing kind of kicks my mind into thinking about other things. So,
mhm.
like I said, him making the astronaut helmet like that was an idea, because I want to do some vacuform battle play sets and stuff like that, and I've been trying to come up with an idea how to do it, and that was sort of an idea there. I
Hmm.
just need to make a plaster version of it and then melt something over the top of it, and it's ready to go.
Yeah,
So,
I love the shit that he comes up with, you know, and I mean, you know, being a professional Hollywood model maker and everything like
uh-huh.
he was, you know, it's amazing to see the ideas that they come up with, and you're like, holy
Yeah.
crap, you know, I could have come up with that.
Yeah, it's just like today he was doing some kind of a thing where he added a drawer onto. He had a cabinet that he wanted to put all of his drafting tools into, and he just built a drawer to be able to do it. And I watched the whole thing, just seeing how he did it, because
Oh,
he petitioned all of the pieces off so all of the parts would fit in just perfect, and that way it wasn't just laying in the drawer. Everything had a place to go, and it was something to be able to kind of get your mind thinking.
Hmm.
well, the
So
cool thing is he has all the tools at his
yeah,
disposal that he could ever
Well, it's
think of,
true.
you
yeah,
know, and that's like, that would be one person, and like Grant Imahara would have been another one. Just, you know,
yeah.
get those guys together, and if I, you know, had millions of dollars, you know, get a warehouse and say, hey, I want you to build me Cobra Island. I want you to build me, you know, the city where they had extensive enterprises building where the doors open. I could, you know, put a Cobra Rattler, you know, those sort of things. I want a city where I can put my Joes in and play,
Hmm.
build it, you know, just build it and just sit there and watch them. That would just be so
That's why.
amazing.
That's why I always wished that I had somebody that lived around me that was into all the stuff I'm into, because all of the tools at my disposal out there, my dad, it was his shop, and he's the one that put all the stuff in there, but I bought all the other stuff. He had all the band saws and all the table saws and everything else,
Mm.
and then I ended up getting the CNC machine and lasers and everything else. So yeah, there's just tons of equipment out there to be able to make anything with, and I'm just one person and I can't do all of the different stuff. But if I had people around me, and I could be able to share all of that, and
And you're
I
not the
don't know.
first person who said that either.
Yeah, it'd be
Andre and
fun.
I said that many times. You know, if we live closer, or, you know, same with Arnold or Myron or any of us. You know, Frank. You know, he ended up moving from San Diego all the way to New York. Um, Myron is the next closest to me, and then
Otto's not too far.
yeah, Otto's not too far. He's just up in the upper Pacific Northwest. And then everybody else, they, you know, Andre's way over in Florida, and I'm
Yeah, but I'm
up
trying to
here.
get back to Central Texas. But but yeah,
The
it's
part of Central Texas.
Waco specifically. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Just south of Balance.
Yeah, it's like here. It's this part of Florida. They do have some manufacturing and things like that, but it's not a whole lot. There's just around the house over there in Waco. There's all sorts of people doing all sorts of businesses for manufacturing. And let me get you on solo. Okay.
Have to
Is
let
that
my
a
dog
cat
back
sitting on a pink barrel?
Yes, a kitten on a cannon.
Jeez.
I'm like, okay. P-Dubs just shared that. But, all right.
Yeah, so in Waco, the nice thing is that there's all sorts of manufacturing over there in Central Texas. So it's like if you want to find people who have big machinery, they're not too far away, or smaller machines, or even some very advanced stuff. It's there within driving distance. And but here, it's like if I want to find people who do milling, things like that, so I could have access to milling some molds into metal. They're in Miami, or they're in like Tampa or Orlando or something like that, not necessarily around here. So Miami is like under an hour, maybe about 30 minutes to drive from where I am. Orlando is like 3 hours away, things like that. It's not quite as convenient as Central Texas, which is almost anywhere from Waco. It's like within an hour, you can get to some very good sources of access, to machinery and things, those kinds of businesses.
That's
There's
one of the
stuff
things I
there
wish
going on.
if I could live close to my brother that lives in Arizona, because he does a lot of metal work and stuff, and he knows how to make the aluminum molds and everything.
Oh,
So,
man.
Yeah,
and
that's an asset right there.
he's got a milling machine and everything to do all of that, and that'd be nice to live close by him, and then get a plastic press. So the plastic.
I got a milling machine too, but it's over there in Texas.
Yeah.
Uh,
I had wanted to get it, but I don't know. It's not something that I would probably make time for with everything else I'm doing. So
it's frustrating because I do have access, these machines and stuff. I can, I put quotes, can make molds, even out of titanium. I got a machine capable of doing that. But it's not anywhere near me. It's over there in Texas, and it's like got injection machines over there in Texas. Vacuum forming over there in Texas. What was that, Otto?
That's what I got.
Oh, hey.
That's what I saw.
Oh, all I saw was, to me, it looked like some sort of like
like a piece of glass.
Come and get it.
well, yeah,
It's like
not piece of glass, but a
triangle.
ornament of some sort that went on, like the tip of a spear or something. Or
Oh yeah.
handsaw.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I got a Dremel though. I acquired a Dremel tool here a couple of years ago, and I'll tell you what, that has really made the customizing process a whole lot easier.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, that's for sure.
I got
Heavy duty fast cuts. Okay, yes.
I think it's a 10-inch table saw, but I still have to finish unboxing it because I just got partially done, and then I got to learn how to use it. And I want to cut things like aluminum, things like that. But here in this particular area, it's one of these condos that it's like a community of condos, like 90 some of them, and I'm in building 94. But thing is that it's all spread out. It's like this large golf course. So you got a building, and you got golf course in front, golf course in back, things like that. So it's not like all bunched up together. But the thing about it is that it's like a community of snowbirds. I mean, there's a lot of people from Canada who come to this area during the winter. So during most of the year, there's like hardly anybody around. Like maybe right now in this particular building, there's probably like 6 units that are occupied.
Oh, wow.
And, this is like a 5-floor building. I don't remember how many units, but just in this area here, at night, you can just go out to the parking lot and you can just see like where the, which units are occupied by the lights inside. And most of the time, everything is dark, completely dark. So, like right now would be a good time for me to learn how to use this table saw and make all sorts of noise, rather than during the winter, when the snowbirds come back.
What? Just I've always wondered, what is it the reason why you move back and forth between Dallas and Waco and
It was
Florida?
job opportunity here. My wife and I work and stuff, but she's got one of these jobs where the boss was saying, you gotta move over here. I won't take no for an answer kind of thing. So the boss was setting up an office in the Fort Lauderdale area, and my wife's been with this company for like 18 years, and it's like one of the first, probably like the third employee hired. Something.
Oh,
like
wow.
that. Yeah. Originally the company started in Florida. Then out of the blue, the main boss just packed up everything and went to Thailand, and then stayed there for like 10 years or something like that, and then opened up offices in all sorts of places around the world: Amsterdam, China, other places, Argentina and other places. So his business took off, and but now he's been moving things back to the U.S. So he's been setting up his company back here in Florida, where he started. Closed up offices, like they had an office in Las Vegas. They closed that up, moved everything over here. Some other offices have been closing up, and they're moving everything to this office here. So at the time, it was a point where he really needed what my wife was doing. And when we got married, she moved from Thailand to here to the U.S. So it was like one of his most important employees is here in the U.S. So, now's the time to get her to come and continue working for him. So, he, made this very good opportunity and everything for her to move over here. And me, I was working as a programmer. So I was like, okay, well, as a programmer, this is the my career right here. I can just go anywhere else as long as I have my skill in front of a computer. It doesn't really matter if I'm this part of the country or that part of the country. And because all my skills are up here, and so it's like, okay, so I support her in moving over here, and then from there we just kind of did our own things and stuff, and then with Die Warriors, things kind of took off on its own, and but that's, in a nutshell, that's basically it, really.
Okay. I was just always curious about that, because it seems like you guys are always bouncing mainly between Texas and Florida, and then you always go over to, Thailand or Hong Kong or wherever for, you spend like a month or so over there.
Yeah, Thailand mostly.
Oh,
I
man.
went to Hong Kong last year, and it was, with this COVID stuff, was very interesting because you can see a transition. The first few days and stuff is, at the airport, for example, everything is normal. At the hotel, we're, checking things out. We started hearing things like rumors of something going on. Then when we do leave the airport, everyone is more serious. Masks are being worn. You had every 10 minutes a recording about if you have fever or something, blah blah blah, go to this particular location, and things like that. And people were trying to keep some distance away without anyone saying social distance. It was just automatic. People didn't want to be near someone else, especially if someone else was sneezing. And so it was a change. You can see, there was like a cloud of more seriousness at the airport. We go back to Thailand, and we start to keep tabs again with the news, and we start to hear things about there was some sort of outbreak in central China, Wuhan, and I was like, Wuhan, where's that? And we do all sorts of searches and find out about that particular city. And then we start to kind of piece together. It's like, okay, well, we did see some people that looked like they had colds and stuff. Did they catch anything? We're kind of feeling under the weather too. Do we have anything? So it just went from well, it was just interesting to see how the transition went from calm to more serious. And then when we get back there, we start seeing that there's something going on. And the longer we stayed in Thailand, the more we started to hear other people get more concerned. They have issues with swine flu and things like that. So you have these memories of those times coming around. And, so it was just very interesting to see how things were. But anyway, over there it's a mask culture. If someone has an allergy, they wear a mask.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you used to see Asian people, different parts of China, Korea, Japan, even wearing masks on a daily basis, especially in China because the pollution is so horrible over there.
Yeah, the Beijing area and stuff like that. Me, typical American, I never have worn a mask at all. So I was like, almost embarrassed, at the Hong Kong airport wearing a mask on things like, well, I know other people are doing it too, but okay, so I'm just gonna bite the bullet and do it myself. And but I kind of wondered how, if it was something very, very serious, I was wondering how the U.S. would handle. And so when we came back, maybe around middle of January, we decided to go ahead and order like a supply of masks. So we started to notice that on Amazon, things like N95 masks were getting hard to locate. And so we were getting other kinds, regular surgical masks and stuff. And, then a few weeks later, it was the run on toilet paper, and that's when I guess people started to get more serious about it here in the U.S. And then you start hearing little horror stories. Like people were getting sick in Europe, getting sick in India. Things were happening in South Korea. They had some people that were getting infected, and they were being considered as super spreaders because they went on the subway, they went here, they went there, and hundreds of people were getting infected because of this particular super spreader. And then, later on, people in Italy started to have a serious problem and dying and things. And, so, it was just interesting to see how it kind of progressed and kind of like we were like at the tip of the wave, being there in Hong Kong and then being there in Asia in general. And it was like, wow, it's really weird. A really weird experience. But yeah, we go back and forth, especially to Thailand. And so we have a condo over there. So the maximum a foreigner can stay, me, is 30 days. Then they want you to leave the country, come back in and get your passport stamped. And then you can stay for another 30 days. So, but because my wife's well, now here is the new headquarters, but back then the headquarters was in Bangkok, so she was able to work at home, but there locally at the headquarters over there. So that was one reason why we were able to stay, 30 days, because technically she's only working the 2 weeks for vacation, but she's also spending the extra 2 weeks working at the office over there. So, 30 days for me and all that, then just come back. Yeah, I know, a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, my job's a little difficult to do on the telecommuting, so just yeah.
Yeah.
Talking to my friends that do travel around the country, and he says it's interesting too. You know that the different, you know, some places you go like everybody's wearing a mask, and other places you go like nobody's wearing a mask.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And it's just like, you know, I mean, I wear a mask whenever, you know, I go into a grocery store or convenience store or something like that. I wear a mask when I go into our dispatcher's office, and you know, I don't care. I'm just okay, fine. I'll wear the mask. I don't care. You know, whereas I'm not one of these people that like, oh, it's against my rights and this, whatever.
I was
Yeah.
already down to that point of wanting to do that because I had bronchitis. I think right around Christmas time last year, and I had been getting bronchitis just about every year, and I ended up. I guess it was right there before New Year's. I ordered some masks from Japan actually, and got them in. And just as I got it in, that's when COVID hit, and it's like, well, I'm glad I got those. So,
Right.
but,
You're a
it just happened.
trendsetter.
Well, I do believe, you know, in general,
Oh,
and
listen.
this is the key word. In general, masks do work.
Yeah, they
It's
do to a
Yeah.
degree, and that's why I figured I could wear it. And I was thinking just for basically to try to stop getting bronchitis.
yeah.
But,
Well, you know, it's you have to use the right tool for the right type of job,
mhm.
and there's different kinds of masks for different kinds of situations.
Yeah, that's why I got them
And
from Japan because I figured they were going to be probably some of the best ones.
right. You know, and if you don't trust masks, well, you know, wear a face shield. If you don't like face shields, well, you know, so there's different ways to put a barrier, you know,
Well, you can
between.
even 3D print a mask and put an N95 filter on it. So
Yeah,
There you go. Yeah.
and but you know, remember when the N95 masks were, you know, being sold only to medical personnel,
mhm.
and even surgical masks were getting hard to find. So people were saying, well, what's the alternative? Well, you could use a cloth mask, but then they started to come up with tests to show that cloth masks are basically useless because they're too big. But and then there were some tests that came out to show that a tea towel or tea cloth, I don't know how it is, 2 layers of that or 3 layers of that, something like that, was supposed to be effective.
Mhm.
And then some medical person noticed that the sanitizing, it's like, I don't know the right term, but it's a sanitized uh, mat or paper or something like that, the kind of blue. But apparently, putting this material double sheet is effective for a virus the size of COVID-19. And so,
Antimicrobial or
yeah,
anti.
there, if you go to the dentist's office or you go to a doctor's office kind of thing, you might find certain types of material. They're sanitized. The word doesn't come to my mind. But
Sterilized?
yes, they're sterilized. They're basically
Microfiber. What's that? What you think
uh,
of microfiber?
no. But
You're talking about the blue material that almost has it's a non-permeable surface to it. It's they always hang that little at the dentist's office. They put that chain around you. They put that
Oh, yeah.
little bib on you. That material, it's a non-porous, because we use that in our drapes for doing the sterile procedures. Blood goes on it; it won't go through it.
right,
Yeah, it's the more layers that you have barrier between your face and nose, the better. And it has to be a very thin micro
Lay down.
micro
Stop.
mesh because the droplets are certain.
You're making
Did
me
I do
angry.
that?
nah,
Scratching at my face.
computer,
Uh,
turn on Joe Room light.
lay down. Please,
Come on.
relax.
Here we go. But yeah, I do think I know what you're talking about. I'm trying to think of the word that you're using too. It's not antimicrobial.
So, anyways,
Sorry.
apparently you could put 2 layers of this together, and that would be an
You're not
effect.
putting up anymore in my face. Stay right where you are.
You know, so it came out in one of those weeks where everyone was kind of like panicking. Well, you know, I can't find this mask, can't find that mask. What can I substitute and use? And so that was one of the things that came out. You know, then from there, I think people started to
I said no,
get creative with
no.
cloth masks to start to make cloth masks into
in my face.
fashion. And then suddenly you don't hear anything more about these groups that came out for to find alternative masks or anything like that.
Not in my face.
No. But very interesting year for stuff like this, you know.
Stop.
I think I'm going to have to go ahead and check out because it's 12 o'clock here now.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, Joe, you're looking pretty tired, you know.
Yeah, I think
I'm gonna beat you up.
probably at the top of the hour would be a good time to stop.
Yeah.
3 hours is probably the maximum. If everyone's going to be looking at this on YouTube, they're probably not going to last for the whole 3 hours. You know.
Yeah.
Well, I'll be doing this again. So,
Well, I'm just going to let it go for the next 2 more minutes, and it'll be
That's what I say.
3 hours, and then I'll shut off the live stream.
all right.
Oh, we've been live streaming this whole time.
No,
Yes.
no more. Creep.
Glad I put down pants.
So just to recap, I'm just going to let it round up to a solid 3 hours, and
In my toes.
Okay.
Oh, Frank, if you're watching, I'm wearing your Navy SEAL shirt.
Oh, no, I was the one that was with the Navy.
Like,
Oh, was it you? Okay, I thought it was Frank. 'Cause I was telling Patty today when I was wearing this, I'm like, hey, I'm wearing my Navy SEAL shirt. She's like, where did that come from again? I
I
said,
said,
well,
boo.
oh, yes.
I need the story.
I thought it was Frank, but yeah, somebody came up and was like, hey, you're wearing a Navy SEAL
Stolen
shirt.
valor.
Said that to Otto, and I was like, that guy lost his cool card forever.
Right.
Stop, Creep.
Anyway, Andre. We're gonna
You're
wrap
gonna
up.
have to hold this cat in a minute.
yeah, probably in about 1 more minute now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's going to be
Yeah,
crazy.
it goes like I've seen American Sniper too, and they had that skull all over their tents and their vehicles and stuff. Yeah, just because you're wearing a Navy SEAL shirt doesn't mean you're a Navy SEAL. I'm like, man.
Yeah. Well, okay. Because everyone's quiet, just waiting for the time.
Yeah. Well, like that, I needed to go ahead and get rolling anyway.
Can you still listen and like give him a count of food or something?
Well,
If he keeps getting in my face,
thank you,
and I
Joe,
think
for
that's
showing up. Thank you, Otto. Thank you, Sean, Tom,
Yeah,
and
it's really good to talk to you.
what's that?
I said to Joe, I think this is the first time I've ever had a video conversation with Joe.
Yep. Yes. This is the first time I've ever done any of these
cutting
things.
holes in my clothes because he
I've
keeps
done a
grabbing
podcast
my
before,
scratching
probably
it.
one time. And that's about it. But beyond that, I just usually don't do these things.
Here,
Well, I've been trying to do it for like once a week and try to keep kind of general.
Yeah.
But the difficult thing is to find out the right day where everyone can really join in. And so it's Saturday, but usually it's on the Friday or maybe on the Thursday. So kind of alternate.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm pretty much probably going to be open myself now. So
hungry.
We're all
Well,
kind of dorks here.
I
We
can
don't have a
join in
social
on some
life,
other
so we
ones.
right. Okay. I guess that's it. Thank you everyone for showing up, and everyone out there who is watching. Right now we got no viewers, so I guess everyone kind of went off. But all right, great. So see y'all next time. See y'all next week. and end the broadcast now.